Okay, guys, so today, four fit minds have come together to talk about nutrition and everything that we obviously can give with regard to that from our different perspectives. The questions are going to be posed by Jane, I do believe. So Jane's going to ask us those questions, and we're just going to go around robin, answering the questions on nutrition. Fire away.
Okay, right. So I'm just going to share this screen.
I feel a bit nervous because I just love food.
Can you see that?
We can, yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna let me do it as.
It's a very fancy slide.
I know.
Well, you know, I like having a play about. There we go. So, first question. How would you describe your relationship with food? I'm going to ask that one to Kath first.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I don't really have a very healthy relationship with food. I wish I had a much healthier relationship with food. In that, I can have periods where I'm extremely focused on what I eat, and I, manage and monitor and intake a lot of healthy food, and then I can just, I guess, a little bit like an alcoholic, I just fall off that wagon. And if I start a day with a bit of an attitude of, I might have a treat today, I'll let that go all day, and then I have to pull it back again afterwards. So unfortunately, my relationship with food can be a little bit hit and miss. But generally, once I'm in a mindset of managing my food, I will do it quite stringently. But I can easily slip off that. But I do eat healthy a lot. I try and eat as healthy as I can. I kind of do ketogenic diet, but then I'll maybe just allow some carby foods in a little bit for a while and then go back again. But generally, I eat a lot of fruit and veg and salad. And at the moment, I've not been eating meat for about 2 weeks, which has been something new, and I'm quite enjoying that. So yeah, a little bit of a changeable relationship mine is.
Good answer. Okay, Colin, what about you?
My relationship with food is really healthy. I would say that, similar to Kath, I've given up meat about a year. So my relationship with food is mainly fish and veg. So I would say that my eating habits are quite strict. And yeah, I have a good relationship with food in terms of eating very healthy. And I can honestly say I've not fallen off the wagon, not been tempted either.
That's good. And you, Nigel?
I believe I have a really good relationship with food. I don't really critique the days when I have foods that are not on point. And people always say to me, "Oh, you can eat what you want to eat and get away with it." That's probably true to a certain extent, but I don't eat off point very often. Like most of my disposable income and my wife's disposable income, we eat out a lot. It's a social thing for me and Claire and the kids. We enjoy nice food, and we indulge on a weekend more so than during the week. So we pull it back Monday to Friday, and the weekend we might let it go. But when we do let it go, we don't let it go so it's off the rails. So for example, takeaways or anything, when we're having anything like that, it's always a healthy alternative to a takeaway. So I'm always conscious of what good foods are, what wholesome foods are, and what your processed sort of refined foods are and what to avoid. So I would say 80% of my nutrition is on point, and 20% of that is obviously sort of cheat food, which I think's completely healthy. You can't be fully. I've tried that. I've tried abstaining from, everything, and it's just my passion. Eating food and celebrating nice food is something I enjoy. So I cannot be 100%, on the button with everything with regards to food. It's never sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Okay, thank you. Right, okay, so I'll answer that. I've got a good relationship with food. I do eat healthy, but I also do allow myself a little bits of treats every now and again, not excessive amounts. But I've grown up where my mum used to cook healthy meals. We didn't have anything like a chip pan or anything like that. So it's just been part of what I am. And I use it as a fuel source, and I eat to live. I make sure that I don't live to eat. And I think that can be sometimes where people have a bit of a downfall, where they don't get on with food very well. But yeah, mine's healthy. My daughter, I make sure that she's, eating fruit and things like that. We don't have fast food. We don't frequent any of the drive-through areas that a lot of people use. I'm quite lucky that she doesn't, and even from a young age, I cooked my own things for her when she was a baby and pureed it down. So yeah, I'd like to think that this household has a very good relationship with food, and we're all healthy too. Okay, right, so question 2. I'm going to throw this one out to Nigel. So what do you think is the root cause of our society's largely unhealthy relationship to food?
I think partly due to the fact that there's probably not enough backing from the NHS and the governments and things like that to promote healthier options. And all you see, especially in the current pandemic, with the lockdown and etc., and things like the fast food joints being still open, and then not really seeing that push for healthy lifestyles and nutrition on adverts and commercials, or other media sort of means, if you like. So I think but obviously outside of the lockdown and the pandemic, I think the main reason why is education. People need to be educated at school at a very early level. It's down to parents to educate them predominantly now, and some parents don't have that education, and then that's just going to feed into the children. So like you just alluded to, Jane, your little one's obviously on point with how you eat, your family. People, I'm sure people who come into your house and would live with you would end up eating the way you do, and it's the same. It's the same that we are in our family. Anyone who comes into our household, it's rare that they will find biscuits, crisps, and cakes and puddings and like that, by the barrel load. And I can walk into many people's houses where that's the case. Ours is not. Someone comes into our house and they'll ask for a biscuit. It's probably rare that we'll have something like that. I'm not saying the root of all problems stems with biscuits, but it's that consistency, like anything. It's the consistency of having something that's deeper than just, it's a difficult one, deeper than just sort of adverts, and it's education, isn't it? It's educating people to make the choices. Why McDonald's, KFC is a bad choice. Why would that be a bad choice on a frequent basis to eat there? Why would it be a bad choice? And why, more importantly, why is it a better choice holistically for your mind, your mood, your energy to eat fruit, vegetables, and more refined, unrefined quality foods rather than the processed, saturated fat type of foods that you associate with your takeaways?
Okay, thank you.
Really good.
Kath, what about you?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to try not to go to conspiracy theorist with this answer.
I know, I thought that when I was typing it.
I feel it's all in the psychology. You just need to, if you look around us, we are programmed to believe in so many different things from our very, very early upbringing. And that is, I think you mentioned it, Nigel, like advertising. If you look around, if I showed you a certain shade of the colour purple, you would know that that is Cadbury's chocolate. So the marketing, the psychology behind the marketing, the psychology behind the sales and the way that they lay out supermarkets, the psychology behind packaging, the psychology behind the type of model that presents a certain type of food. You won't see somebody on a cake advert that's huge, so the impression you get is that you can eat that cake, but you're still going to be slim and beautiful, and I think it's all in the psychology of advertising and the greed and manipulative tactics of the food industry giants and how they present to us what we should eat and how we should live. And that, so when you were talking about like being educated, I think you have to unsee it all, to reprogram what you believe to be healthy and what you know to be the right nutrition for your body, because what we're told by the people we're supposed to trust is it's lies. You know, it's unreal, and you can't live like that. You can't walk into a supermarket and you're met with, at eye level, all the different products that you're met with are, you know, big bags of crisps and, you know, big multi-packs of chocolate and stuff, and, you know, people just think, they just grab it, there's nothing to it, it's all on special offer, and then you go and want to buy a melon and it's £3, you know. So I guess it's all that, it's all the psychology of shopping and purchasing food that needs to be looked at really at a much higher level than us. But if we learn how to do it and undo the psychology of it, then yeah, you can be a lot healthier.
Okay, thank you. But I'm going to jump on and answer this one, and and then Colin can go last on this one. So I think a lot of it, I echo a lot of what Nigel and Kath, what you're saying, but also years gone by, when I was a kid, most most parents, there was one parent who would be at home where the other is out at work, and because of the cost of living, because we want nicer things, we want 2 cars in the family, all those bits and pieces that we didn't have before, then both parents usually go out to work, so therefore they come home. Do they want to sit and plan a nutritious meal? No, the easiest thing in the world is to switch on the oven, throw something in there. A lot of the time it can be processed. People come home, they're still working into the night. It's all quick, fast food, not necessarily nutritious. However, like you say, the branding, the packaging, you might pick up a ready meal that says that it's really, really healthy. But we know, yes, it might have fruit and veg, or, you know, meat and veg in it or whatever, but it's gone through a process to get it to that state. So all the impurities are pushed into it. So it's no healthier than at the point it was picked and produced. I think that's got a lot to do with it. We force ripen lots of fruits and veg now that we never used to do. I mean, God, when I was a kid, I used to will for strawberry season to come. Now I'm buying strawberries 12 months out of the year, which is great, but we're doing that. So of course the cost of that's going up high, which is hence why now a lot of fruit is expensive, but it's easier, cheaper to buy cheaper snacks, which are obviously processed, refined sugars, things that are not good for us. So it's unfortunate, really, that over time we've demanded more, and probably we're our biggest people. You know, we've caused a lot of this because of what our demand's been.
Like a consumer society.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So right, okay, Colin.
We've taken all best answers now. What are you left with, Colin?
We saved the best for last.
I'll just say my answer is a bit of what everyone else has said. So treats, everyone I speak to say that, you know, like Friday's treat night, you know, they've been to it all week, and then Friday's class is like, you know, their treat. They have pizza, or, you know, they don't necessarily, well, most people don't cook on a Friday. Even if they don't cook in the week, they definitely don't cook on a Friday. And it's like, you know, takeaway Fridays is the thing. So a lot of people have treats, which are obviously going to be full of fat, sugar, and unhealthy stuff. Fast food, takeaways and all that is much easier now, much easier to access, because you've got delivery, you've got Uber Eats, you've got Just Eat, you've got probably a load more that I can't even think of that deliver to your door. You know, you don't even have to go anywhere now to get food. You don't have to cook. You just order online. It's just got so much easier to get, you know, fatter, because you don't have to go out and do that walk to get your food. We're more of a consumer society, as Jane pointed out. We seem to want more for less. So like the strawberries, rather than getting them one season, you can get them all year round. And same for most fruits, veg, other items. You know, we just want more and more of it, and cheaper as well. Yeah. TV advert, there's loads of TV adverts. You know, you watch Bake Off, and around that, there's all these adverts for the supermarkets, ingredients, fast food. It's all food related. And then you look at all the baking shows, they're on most days. You know, you can't get away. There's no day where you say, oh, there's nothing about food on TV. It's, every day is some food program. Newspapers, TV adverts, bus shelters, billboards. It's, you know, it's full of food. It's full of food. And you go to a supermarket and snacks, chocolates, sweets, they're all round the tills. Also, you know, like you say, there's these buy 3 get 1 free or something like that. Or 2. They're in like bargain buckets, boxes or buckets at the end of the aisle. It's just made so much easier to pick up, you know, all this unhealthy stuff. 24 bags of crisps, you know, big bulk of chocolate and so on. It's just, yeah, it's got to a point where literally you can't go anywhere. You go into a supermarket with good intentions and you come out with all the bad stuff you try to avoid. You can't
never go hungry. Never go to the supermarket when you're hungry, because you come out with all sorts.
Because you'll just buy snack after snack. So yeah, I think it's definitely a case of the NHS.
Jane's gonna shoot. Yeah.
Sorry, the school have just phoned me 3 times. Okay, and then our last question. Sometimes hunger can be physical, but it can also be emotional or mental. When you eat, what part of yourself are you feeding? And I'm going to throw that one open to Nigel first.
All of them really. So there's sometimes where I eat because I'm hungry physically, and then there's sometimes I eat because I know it's time I should be eating, but I'm not necessarily hungry. And then there's obviously sometimes when I would probably say I would either eat when I'm emotionally stressed or tired or emotionally sort of eating. But I am so fully aware of the type of foods to eat when I am emotionally stressed. And I'm fully aware of the type of foods that maybe when I'm tired. And I'm definitely aware of the things that I should eat when I'm physically hungry and I'm recovering from activity. I'm fully equipped with the knowledge to understand why I would eat, when I would eat. And when I say what type of part, you know, it says what part of you are you feeding when you are eating, I am so in tune with that. And that therefore that sometimes determines the type of foods that I would have. So if I'm emotionally sort of a little bit stressed, lagging, you know, maybe not had enough to eat, maybe overtrained, or maybe just tired from, you know, lack of sleep, sometimes getting up with little ones, then I would be more inclined to pull my diet and rein it in and not have the sugary biscuits and crisps that would be pulled to normally, which I know a lot of people would probably not do that. And I understand that completely. That's the reason why I work with clients, to give them that sort of skill set and the tools that I have to help them understand what stage they're at in their emotional hunger, physical hunger, and where they're at. And sometimes I like to push by that, where I do my fasting at times, and I do intermittent fasting, and I do the 3-day fast. That's really to sort of reset where I am emotionally and physically, and just to understand, okay, where is my gut at? And that's a good thing, to allow your gut to have that rest. And not just to keep giving it food all the time, because like you say, sometimes it doesn't need it.
No. Okay, thank you. Right, I'm going to throw that one out to Colin next, please.
I would say for me, mentally first, and then physical, and then emotion. So mentally, it kind of food that I eat helps me to focus, and also helps me to kind of create ideas in sort of, obviously working for a charity and running a charity. It's kind of like I've got to think of, you know, different things that need to be done and when they need to be done. So it helps me mentally dealing with that, especially when you're firefighting. Physically as well, obviously working out, I need to energy to fuel my body. So same again, the type of food that I eat, I make sure it's not the type of food that's going to slow me down. And emotionally, don't really eat emotionally. So I just eat the same kind of food, really. Food that keeps me upbeat, alert, and motivated. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, thank you. Right, I'll answer this one now. I intermittent fast as well, so obviously I am governed by the mental, you know, sort of telling me, right, this is now time to eat, this is when I need to stop eating. I don't really, I'm not an emotional eater, so if work's busy or I don't particularly get stressed, so I'm lucky in that respect that I manage my stresses quite well, that I don't sort of reach for a bar of chocolate or down a bottle of wine or, you know, something like that to sort of get me through that part of it. So I do still make good choices, even, you know, sort of if I'm busy at work and I'm in the office at work, I still make sure I eat at the time to eat, you know, come my break, my fast breaking time, and I do make those good choices. So for me, it's more physical and mental that sort of drives my hunger rather than the emotional side of it. Okay, right, Kath, lastly to you.
Gosh, I think I'm a little bit of everything. I know if I'm very busy and maybe a bit pressured, I wouldn't eat. Food would come last. But if I'm bored or not got much to do, I'll think about food a lot more. I like food, and you know, I like to. That's why I struggle with fasting. I do naturally fast sometimes because I'll have my tea at 5 o'clock and then I don't eat again till the following day. I'm not a snacker on an evening. But I don't kind of see that as fasting really, because it's not done purposefully. But I also think I eat because it's routine. So I grew up where we had like breakfast at 8 o'clock, we had lunch at 12, and we had dinner at tea at 5. So I'm still a little bit stuck in that. Sometimes I'll not have my breakfast till a little bit later, but at work, 11, I'm is it dinner time? Is it dinner time? You know, and I'm really ready. So I think some of it for me is just routine and I fit food in at certain times of the day just to keep me going. It's not, you know, because it's habit, I suppose. But like I said, I think, so is that emotional really, or is that just that's routine? I don't know that it's particularly feeding, you know, either an emotional or a mental part of me. It's just that's what I see as that's the time to eat. So what part of myself am I feeding? I think I do just eat because that's what I have to do. And I know that whilst I'm doing it, I like to enjoy it. So I do, that's where I would slip into probably allowing myself more treats sometimes than is necessary. But I don't do that as often now as I used to. So now I'm feeding myself much more because it's a mindful choice to be healthy. So.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you for that, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
Good answers.
So what would everybody like to suggest for our next topic? We've done exercise in episode 1. This is our nutrition of food. So anybody's got a suggestion for episode 3? Should we talk about physical health?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going for that.
Motion is lotion.
Yes. That resonates.
Okay. Would anybody like to do the questions next time, or
what do you mean by physical health, Kath?
Well, I guess like illnesses, how we manage our, you know, physical well-being overall. Yeah. Whether that be through pharmaceuticals or healthy eating or vitamins or whatever.
Physical health. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that one.
Fabulous. Okay. Yes. See you next
Perfect.
time.
Awesome.
See you soon.
See you later,
See you
guys.